this could lead into an explanation of how the state of the universe compels everything, but I don't want to get into that right now. That's going to be for another show. I'm going to stay on point and address in real time why why we don't have a free will. Okay. Um, Basic. All right. We can go through moods, I guess. Um, Amount of sleep. Amount of sleep. Okay. Last night I got good sleep. I mean, I knew I was going to do, 4 shows, tape 4 shows on my own, and I knew it was going to be difficult, and I knew that that I wanted to be, as lucid and sharp as possible, and I knew that that would happen best if I had a good amount of sleep. So, I made sure to go to sleep early last night, and when I got a late night call, I got off really quickly so I wouldn't like stress myself. Um, but notwithstanding, the amount of sleep I got last night is affecting how my presentation is today. Okay, it's much more energetic than it would have been if I got hardly any sleep. I mean, who knows what other kinds of changes would have come about. So that's another thing. What's happening today is directly related to that. I chose, for better or worse, not to eat breakfast this morning. Because my stomach is a little tight, and I had a cup of tea, but I didn't think, um, food would benefit this. I could have been wrong. I don't know. It's hard to say, but clearly anybody who like has breakfast every day, or who has breakfast some days but doesn't have breakfast other days, can tell you that whether you have food or not in you will make a difference. And again, it's hard to say sometimes whether that difference is going to be better or worse. I'm predicting, I'm hoping that it's better for this show. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, yeah, whether or not we eat food and what kind of food I would have eaten for breakfast would have made a difference. How much sleep I got, how I'm dressed. Okay, if I was like dressed in a tie and jacket, if my main audience wasn't going to be high school kids, I'd probably have gotten a haircut, just I'd be talking differently probably, just like this would be like a different presentation. Um, so, so it's the fact, for example, it's the fact that I have a certain audience in mind, as the main audience, that causes me to dress in a certain way and wear my hair in a certain way and all, that causes then me to act in a certain way. Okay? Now, then you might ask, well, all right, well, how about this wanting, college kids as your primary audience? Some people might say, well, you freely decided that, you freely willed that. But did I? Did I? Think about it. The reason I decided on college kids as the primary audience is, one, I'm aware that a lot of college stations throughout the country, a lot of colleges, universities have their own cable station, on campus that they, present to the students and maybe even to the community. And, I know a lot of times they're looking for shows. Sometimes they don't have enough programming. So I know these two things. And I know also that college kids are curious about this stuff. They take philosophy courses. Their minds are open to new ideas. So I knew this too. So basically, my knowing something about college TV stations and about college kids kind of like made it make sense. Made it make sense to me that college kids should be the primary audience. Okay? And so like, now, is that a free will decision? No. Because we are compelled. We're compelled by nature to do what we think is going to make the most sense. If I think college kids are going to be the best audience, the best way to disseminate this information, Am I going to then tailor this show to 4-year-olds or 90-year-olds? No. No, we are compelled by nature to always do what makes the most sense to us. That's the thing. And so, like, now here's the thing. Sometimes we'll look back in hindsight and say to ourselves, well, it seemed like the best option at the time, but knowing now what we didn't apparently know then, it wasn't the best option. Or who knows, maybe it was still. I don't know. But that's the idea. Okay. So, um, so yeah, proving in real time that we don't have a free will. It's really amazing. Right now, I want to take a few minutes to just like, savor that realization that this is a movie. I mean, what I'm doing right now, people, is compelled, completely compelled. None of it is up to me. I'm an actor whose every word has been scripted, every gesture has been scripted, every feeling has been scripted. My whole presentation has been scripted by the causal past. Okay, and that is amazing. That's awesome. Um, how do we understand this? Because I feel we've done enough of the explaining how we don't have a free will in real time. So I want to just like go a bit through what this means. What this means in a more general perspective. Okay. One way you might be able to understand this, or understand its significance, is like if you're religious, chances are you believe that God is all powerful, or that what He says goes. In other words, like if God wants you to do something, if God very genuinely wants you to do something, you're absolutely going to do it. If God doesn't want you to, because like He's got the power. You think you can actually do something that God, you know, is going to prevent you from doing or wants to prevent you? No. Uh, because all right, then I've got to answer the objection some people might have that about God, and we're going to get into this more. But the idea is like, well, if God is all powerful, then certainly He can give you a free will, But that that statement is incoherent, and I'll tell you why. Like for example, let's look at another question. Can God can God create a boulder so large that even he can't lift it? Think about that. When you think about that question, then you understand that this whole idea of an all-powerful God um, doesn't stand up to reason. And then what you end up concluding, which just like it's a complete mind blower in another sense, is that it could be that God is completely compelled, that God doesn't have a free will either. Think about this. Think about this question. Can God, if he so choose to cease existing? To just like cease existing along with the rest of the universe that God created, the rest of reality? Um, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. But the idea is that, all right, if there is, and here's, let's bring this together. If God is all powerful, okay, then there's absolutely no way that we have any power at all. And if He's granting us free will, um, well, there's so much again that goes against that anyhow. But think about if He were to grant us a free will, then God couldn't be all powerful. Think about it, because like if we're doing stuff that He would rather that we didn't do, and He's powerless to prevent us, that's not all powerful. That's not omnipotent. No. So, all right. So that's a cool consideration with God, because like, there's several. Well, we'll go into it later. Okay. Back to real time. Well, let's think of another explanation of Free will is an illusion, and why we have causal wills. Um, okay. Okay, right now, I'm trying to think of another way to explain it, but either my mind's tired or for some reason it's not coming to me. I'm saying to myself, gee, it'd be nice if I could, like, explain it in a different way, but it's not coming to me. So again, so we're exploring that, you know, the way decisions, the way speech comes in real time. And again, if it was up to me, if I had a free will, I would know exactly what to say. My memory would just scan. Because let me tell you something, I know this subject cold. It's in there, but I happen to like, my mind functions much better generally when it's interacting with another person, on my own. And also, I wanted to do this without notes, to be able to demonstrate this better, to be able to also kind of like delve more deeply into my unorganized thoughts and reality. Um, okay, so again, we don't have a free will, but what's good, what we can take home as really good is that we should have, all right, basically, we're hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, and everybody is, okay? So the idea is that because of that, as each day goes by, as each month, each year, each generation, each era, eon, whatever, we're getting better as individuals and as a species at moving toward the good, moving toward the pleasure, moving away from the bad, moving away from the displeasure or pain. We're getting much better at that. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we don't have a free will. And in fact, it's better that we don't because if we weren't guided by this hedonic imperative to always seek pleasure and avoid pain, and by this moral imperative to always try to do good, then we wouldn't then it would be like haphazard. It's great to know that the universe has compelled us to have those basic motivations. Okay, that's a good place to end. So, all right, this is George for exploring the illusion of free will, and I just want to say this series is gonna be revolutionary. We're gonna change the world with this because, like, there are times for ideas, and the idea for humanity to overcome and benefit hugely by overcoming the illusion of free will is here, and it's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun, it's going to be excellent. I'll see you again soon.